Okay, hello everybody. This is Ridge Racer off of rcdiscuss.com. Just want to do a quick overview of the ALZRC 3GYS 3-axis gyro. I have two gyros currently installed on a HK450 GT. It's essentially a line V2, of course, most of you know that. And I have the second one installed on an ALZRC 450 Pro. Okay, just to give you guys an overview of everything, pretty much the same as all the other gyros that are out there, the Copter X, as well as the Tarot gyro that's out there. You know, from what we determined, they're all made pretty much by the same manufacturer, it seems. Currently on boat units, boat helis, I got the Turnigy, if you guys can see that, the 3GY90S analog metal gear servos installed. I have the gyros both boom mounted on the rear, on top. And I'm using on the HK450, I'm using a SpringRC digital servo that I picked up from RC 711. It's I believe a 3841 SM-3841. I got it from a tip from actually 3471M. Been flying, recommended this servo a couple of months back on one of his 450 and 500 setups he's using. And I also went a slightly different route on the 450 Pro. I got from Hobby King a BlueBird BMS 396DMH coreless digital servo on the rear. But like I said, both helis both have the same cyclic servos installed. Both Turnigy 90S metal gear servos. These are analog servos, guys. All right. A couple of you guys are having problems, I guess, getting the tails to hold on these helis. It's pretty much the same same troubleshooting steps you go through for any single axis gyro that you have on the tail to control your yaw. All right. Just to give you an overview, this is this V2. Did some work on this last night. Tail holds phenomenal. Pretty fast digital servo right here, very strong. I highly recommend it. Can work at 6 volts if you guys are interested. Just a number of things that you can do to tighten up the tail setup on your helis. For starters, I definitely recommend you see this tail pitch slider that you guys have here. A trouble spot that always seems to come up, especially the HK kits and a lot of the clones, is this little tail pitch slider right here. Notice the little ball link. Doesn't seem too clear right now on this video, but in that ball link, you guys want to make sure there's absolutely no play or very little play. If you do find yourself with play between this plastic hole and the ball link, you might want to try a little trick I picked up. Get a little CA glue and put the CA glue, put like a drop inside of the ball, inside of the plastic tail pitch slider, and just run the glue around in a circle inside of that hole, and that can take up some of the slack. Let the glue dry, of course. Let the glue dry, and that can usually take up a good amount of the slack that you might experience in the slop, I should say, the slop that you might experience between the ball link and this tail pitch slider, this control lever. All right. Now that's one problem area that should get at least 80 to 90% of the slop in the tail pitch mechanism. Another area that you might want to investigate is these little links. The links on the slider itself that goes up to the tail pitch controls. The little small links right here on both sides, where they connect into the the grip for the two grips for the tail blades. A lot of times you have these little bushings that are inside of these little links. One area of improvement, if you can get rid of them altogether and replace them with what I have right here. I'm using these ball links that I picked up from eBay. Actually, it came originally on a metal tail pitch slider that I never could get to work. But I found these ball links to be absolutely slop free, no play whatsoever. So I installed them, screwed the ball links into the blade grips for the tail gear setup, and that will get rid of that last 15 to 20% of your slop. Now notice with my blades, and if you have a good metal gear servo on the tail, if I try to move the blades, I can't. Absolutely no play whatsoever. Now, like I said, 90% here, the last 10%, sometimes 20, sometimes 80-20, all right? But at least 80 to 90% here, guys. And the last 20%, 10% maybe in these little links, all right? This is a rock solid tail with the 3GYS and my SpringRC digital gyro. All right, now I'll show you the setup on the Pro. The Pro, I only went that first step until I can get on eBay and order those two links that I was referring to. Now the Pro, flip it over, put the dab of glue on this pitch slider, right? And stock links. Notice the ones with the bushings. These are the ones with the bushings, guys. One thing that helps the Pro in terms of its tail holding abilities is it has the Chinese weights. Notice the tail grips a little different. All right, a little bit of play on it. But not much, and notice the slider doesn't move at all. If any, very, very little. All right. This tail also holds rock solid. So just a little advice to help you guys get your helis set up with this 3-axis gyro setup. It's all in the mechanics, basically. Make sure everything is pretty much slop free, and these things fly phenomenal. A little hack trick I did, I lost the cable on my original 3GYS when I received it, so I soldered on this little doohickey here. It's a little remote cable I soldered on for the data port. That way I can hook it up to the program box and on the fly. Now I have a new cable that I purchased separately for the second 3-axis gyro, and I kind of thinking I should probably install one of these. They're really convenient instead of lugging around that separate cable. But you know, this thing just permanently sits on the heli. All right. As far as some of the advanced settings that I've chosen to use on these helis, I have set my pitch and roll derivative settings in the PID settings to about 30. Kept them all stock. I'm on the soft 3D settings for both of them. Both helis, I left the remote control deadband stock. For tail control, all the tail PIDs are stock. I have 0 on the D derivative setting, and I'm using a +3 for collective pitch compensation. You know, both servos are pretty fast, so I haven't noticed too much kick, if any. It doesn't really kick, if any. And I've tried this numerous times. I've tried to fly both helis in calm days as well as pretty windy, gusty days. Actually took it out today. You know, we're experiencing a little snowstorm here in the tri-state, and I you know, took a little chance. So it was gusting up to about 35 miles an hour. Did a little short hovering until I couldn't feel my fingers. Did a couple of pitch pumps. Tail held great on the V2. I've flown the Pro numerous times already. Just recently I've converted the V2 to flybarless, so I'm just getting around to playing around with that guy. Alright, any help, any tips you guys need, give me a shout. One final note, if you guys haven't noticed, Pro has carbon blades installed. These are stock, and if you haven't noticed, yes, these are fiberglass blades. If you're going to fly with analog servos, fiberglass blades, make sure your total gains on roll and pitch are set to about 25. That should get you a pretty stable heli without too much of those wobbles. All right, make sure your derivatives are set to about 30. Really helps in a windy day. All right, thanks again, guys.